For this video, we're going to take a look at some of the striking methods from the Baguazhang animal forms. I'm going to pick one posture from each of the forms. With each of these postures, we're going to need to break it down into a much smaller frame so it's more usable for striking an opponent. We're going to use the bag, but it's going to be the same principle for if you're working with a partner. Okay, so for the first posture, we're going to take a look at lion rolls the ball. When we do our self-defense positions, most of them start with the hands down. And the reason for that being that you're probably not going to be in a position where you're ready to encounter something self-defense related. Otherwise, it'd be more of a fighting scenario. So with the hands low, the first movement, the hands are going to roll upwards. Now we fold down with the left hand and then claw forwards with the right. So first of all, we need to take a look at the movement of the left hand. So from this neutral position, the left hand is going to roll up and out. So it's going to parry as the right hand covers above the head. Now we turn the left hand over and fold down and then turn the body and then claw forwards with the right. Now as you fold over, in the form we use a claw, but as we're going to fold down, we're just going to keep the palm open and all the fingers are going to be together. As soon as the hand folds down, this is where you get to choose what kind of weapon you want to use. So you can quite happily throw a punch forwards, you can use a palm or even an elbow, depending on what range you're at. For lion rolls the ball, the first movement we need to check the arm inwards. So if we're going to take this from a right punch from our opponent, the hand's going to spiral in and it's going to check to the side. As the hand takes up the bridge, the other hand's going to move high, and then we fold down, and then we claw straight in towards the face. So as we mentioned before, the claw can be either a palm or a punch. It doesn't really matter what you strike with, as long as the movement of the body is the same. We're going to go one, fold, and strike. Okay, moving on to application number 2, we're going to have a look at monkey wards off the 8. Now, I've chosen this posture particularly because of the hand positions and how they're very unique to the monkey form. Now, the first one is going to be a rising hinge movement. And this happens right at the beginning of the form, again, very similar to the lion. So as soon as we step around, we're going to throw this hinge up nice and high. Now, this is a parry, first of all, to a punch that's coming in. And again, you notice that the hands are in the low position. We don't walk around expecting for there to be a self-defense situation. So if there's suddenly a punch or an attack that comes out, then the arm comes up from that neutral position down by the side. Now, we want to continue the movement around to strike, but we're going to do that in a very difficult way, especially when we're working with the form, because as we throw the hand around, we want to contort the body, and that just builds up all of that torque ready to release into that right hand. The second one, as we roll it over and we whip that movement, we're going to strike with those bottom 3 knuckles. So there's almost like an arc just over the back of the palm. So you can use either the top 2 or the bottom 3. So as we turn over, we want to contort the body. And again, as I said, this is going to create that tension through the waist to just release all of that power out into the right hand. As you throw the hand up, you need to get back on the front foot. So once you enter one of those self-defense situations, you need to get out of defense as soon as you can so you can be on the front foot to attack. So this is why we roll from our defense straight to a striking posture. And then we just continue to follow up after that. So this is using the power of the arm and the body. And it's not so much about the speed in which you do it, but the weight of the strikes. First one, as we strike up, as I said before, we're going to swing that arm, and that's what's going to bump that initial bridge out of the way. So as soon as that first hand swings up, you automatically want your furthest hand away to retreat to a guard position. This is just going to cover from any follow-up shots in case you miss the first. So as soon as the punch comes in from here, the hand comes up and I turn my body away so I can throw an attack forwards. Now what happens from here is that as I shuffle in and I strike, I'm going to use my backup hand just to pick up that bridge as I move forwards. So I'm going to go 1, and then as I turn and roll that hand over, the hand at the back is going to just scoop, and then I'm going to strike with those bottom 3 knuckles right to the side of the head or the neck or anywhere I can fit that strike in. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go 1, okay, but again, you're going to really have to condition those hands in order to hit in those positions. Otherwise, you could really do some damage to the fingers or to the wrist. Okay, so for the third application, we're going to take a look at hawk turns to defend the wrist. And this is going to be quite a complex movement, and you'll see when we work on the bag how the hands take over the control from each other so you can free hands up to strike. We step out of our walking posture, hook back with our left hand. The right hand is going to hook backwards with a claw. The left hand drops beneath the elbow, and then we shuffle in and strike sideways. Now, it does have similar elements to lion rolls the ball, but the control of the hand is the really interesting thing. Probably more likely to be a situation when you're already within the encounter because your hands are going to be high. So from here, as you hook, you can pass the limb by bringing the right hand underneath and parrying it across. So if you can open up their body so you're entirely on the closed side, then you can strike in free to the face without another arm intercepting or being able to block on your route in. As you hook, both hands go under, it slides round, takes control again, and then fires in. Your left hand is going to drop underneath your right elbow, and this could be in case your opponent brings in another punch, so you have a separate hand to parry, so the striking hand doesn't have to worry about being intercepted en route. Again, when it comes to striking towards the head, depending on how well conditioned you are, you can use the fist, you can use the side of the hand, you can use the palm, pretty much anything that you want to, just as long as your hands are strong enough to take it. For the hawk posture, we're going to look at taking this off a left arm. So left arm, and we hook back with the left arm as well. Now the hand is going to come up from underneath. We're going to open up on the inside and then strike towards the face with the claw. Again, the same thing. It could just be a straight punch, but the movement, as you pick up the bridge and move it to the outside, we're operating inside the opponent's guard. Okay, so from this punch here, this initial hook happens on a higher line. The right hand comes underneath. We hook it back with the claw and then shuffle the feet so we can get into a striking range. Okay, so for application number 4, we're going to take a look at Dragon Breathes the Fire. And this is quite interesting because in the form it seems like a relatively linear movement, but it's actually going to highlight all the twists in the waist when we start to stick it either on the dummy or working with a partner. When we use this as application, we don't have to use both hands together, but just for the form, we do that at the same time so each side gets equal training. So the hands are going to come up through the center, the fingers stay tucked in. So as they come up, we strike down and out, and then bring the heels of the palms together as we twist the palms up towards the ceiling, and there we're going to join and strike to either side of the throat or to the head. The reason why we can't strike with two hands at the same time is because it splits the power. So when we do use our waist turn, we're going to strike slightly offbeat. This is going to allow for you to strike in quicker succession. So as the hands come up, the waist is going to turn right, left, right. And if you look, that my left hand is leading all the way through. So as my hands come up here, 1, 2, 3, they're slightly offset, and therefore it means that we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's going to happen so quick that you won't be able to see the difference as we strike to the dummy or to our partner. The footwork is entirely down to your distancing, so if you're too far out, you're going to need to shuffle in with that step. If you're close enough, it can happen within a trapping range as well. And as I said, you don't have to use them both together. It could literally be 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. Dragon is a double-handed technique. Something that we train on both sides, but it can easily be just used on the one side. Now, if we're in the middle of somebody's guard here, then the hands are going to come up through the center, strike backwards as we shuffle the body forwards, and that loads the hands for a double palm strike to the face or to the neck. The hand doesn't technically move backwards as much as your body catches up, and that's what helps to load the strike. Now, if you're just going to do it on one side, the same thing applies. The hand's going to come up. This could be a block, almost like a pung, but you're going to push the deterrent towards your opponent's face. So as soon as that punch comes in, the hand comes forwards, and then you're going to strike with the palm. Because you're going to be reacting fairly quickly, the palm's a lot easier to use because there's more room for error, which means that if you strike the wrong target or you have your hand in a slightly awkward position, the palm is going to allow you to get that strike landed without damaging yourself a lot easier than, say, a punch or a finger jab. Okay, so from here, the hands come up, and then that's going to be a rebound movement as you move your body closer. Obviously, you're going to have to be in range because nobody's going to hit you when they're outside of range. So from this position here, the punch is about to land, the hands this way. And if this bridge was a little bit more sturdy, you would see that it affects the body quite a lot. So the hand comes out bah, 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 as you move in. Bah, bah, bah. Bah, bah, bah.